Hey everyone, welcome to Nutsaboutcars. Today's episode, I want to talk about washing your car. Here, for those of us, especially that live in the Rust Belt or the Salt Belt. If you live in the Rust Belt, winter car washing really isn't about keeping your car shiny. It's about slowing down damage. Road salt keeps us safe in the winter. It helps prevent accidents. It melts ice and makes winter driving possible. But there's another side to that a lot of people don't think about. Salt doesn't just disappear when the snow melts. It sticks to your car. And over time, it quietly eats away at it. If you've ever owned a car that looked fine on the outside but had rust underneath, you already know what I'm talking about. Today, I want to explain why winter car washing actually matters, especially here in the Rust Belt, and what really makes a difference. So, what does salt do to your car? So, when roads are treated in the winter, they're usually using some form of salt or a liquid brine. That salt gets kicked up by your tires and sticks to places you don't normally look: wheel wells, lower doors, rocker panels, and especially the undercarriage. Excuse me. Once salt is there, it holds moisture against metal. That combination speeds up corrosion, and the problem is you usually don't see it happening until it's already expensive. Rust doesn't announce itself early, it works quietly from the bottom up. Oh boy. And you know how tough that can be when you go looking, especially when you go look for a used car. I ran into that with my 2018 Escape. After I bought it, I realized that the bottoms of the door were absolutely, on the inside bottom, they were absolutely just bubbling up and looking nasty. And I had missed it while I was looking at the car because I was focusing on the obvious places, and it was the inside door at the bottom where the drains are. Drains were clogged over time. Car was never really taken care of. It was taken care of mechanically in oil changes, but whoever owned it never really washed the car. You can tell from the faded paint. So I'll show you some before and after pictures and why it's important. You can take care of your car with oil changes, tune-ups, tires, brakes, but if you don't take the same amount of care on your paint and the metal on your car, it's almost as damaging as not doing oil changes. It'll just ruin the value of the car. That's why winter damage often surprises people. The paint still looks decent, but underneath, brake lines, suspension parts, exhaust components, and even frames can be deteriorating or start to deteriorate. Here in the state of Wisconsin, or even if you live in Illinois or anywhere around the Great Lakes or what's considered the Rust or Salt Belt, roads are treated regularly throughout the winter, sometimes for months at a time. That means our cars are exposed to salt far more often than vehicles in warmer climates. It's not about how old your car is or how expensive it was when it was new. It's about exposure. More salt, more moisture, more time sitting on metal. That's why cars from the Midwest often rust earlier than similar cars from southern or western states. Some vehicles, same age, totally different environment. This isn't just a cosmetic issue. AAA actually estimates that drivers spend around $3 billion every year repairing rust and damage caused by road salt and de-icing chemicals. That's not faded paint, that's brake lines, frames, suspension components, safety critical parts. Once rust gets to those areas, repairs can get expensive fast, and sometimes they're not even worth doing. That's why prevention matters so much more than reaction. So, the undercarriage is really the key. This is where winter car washing really earns its keep. Washing the paint is fine, but in the winter, the undercarriage is the most important part. Rust almost always starts where you're not looking, under the car, behind the shields, inside seams and welds. If you skip the underside, you're basically leaving the problem untouched. That's why I always look for a wash that includes an undercarriage flush. It's not about luxury. It's about removing salt before it has time to do damage. Think of it this way. Washing the body, but not the underside, is like cleaning your boots, but leaving the mud packed inside them. Protectants and titanium-style coatings. Many high-tier car washes also apply a protectant. Different places call it different things. In this wash that you see in the video, they call it titanium. The idea is simple. It creates a slick layer on the surface that helps water, grime, and salt slide off easily. This doesn't make your car invincible. It doesn't stop rust forever, but it slows the clock. Salt has a harder time sticking, and future washes become more effective. In winter, anything that reduces how long salt stays on a car is a win. So some say, how often should you wash in the wintertime? So how often should you actually wash it? Most experts recommend every 10 to 14 days during the winter. And honestly, weekly makes sense if you're driving daily on treated roads. Especially after snowstorms, especially after slushy wet driving, and especially when temperatures rise above freezing. That's when the salt really kicks in and starts to activate. Winter washing isn't about waiting until your car looks dirty. It's about removing salt before it has time to do harm. So why memberships make sense, or at least to me, and I'll kind of share my perspective. This is where car washes really shine. Most car washes today offer some type of unlimited or monthly plan. The benefit isn't convenience, it's frequency. When you can wash often, you don't hesitate. You don't put it off. You just remove the salt and move on. Different washes have different names and packages, but many of them offer similar features. Undercarriage rinses, protectants, winter-focused cleaning. This just happens to be one of the uses. The important part isn't the brand, it's the habit. Winter car washing isn't vanity, it's preventative maintenance. If you live in a rust belt, salt exposure is unavoidable, but long-term damage doesn't have to be. Wash regularly in the winter, don't skip the undercarriage, use protectants when you can, and think of washing as protection, not appearance. If you live in a salt-heavy area, how often do you wash your car in the winter? And have you ever had rust sneak up on your car? Let me know in the comments. Everyone, thank you so much for watching my episode today. Please like and subscribe and visit my new website, nutsaboutcars.com. Thank you.
I gotta tell you guys,